Driven, RE/MAX Hallmark's real estate show, with your hosts, Johnder, Perez, and Dan Salhany.
Welcome everybody to a live recording session of the Driven Real Estate Show by RE/MAX Hallmark. Thank you for everybody who has joined us. As you know, this is our live show. It will be published to YouTube as well as to iTunes and Android once it's ready to go. So welcome to the Driven Real Estate Show by RE/MAX Hallmark. Today, myself and Dan Salhany, we have a special guest, and her name is Christina Kroner. And so what we're going to be doing is as we interview Christina, if you have any questions, you can type it into the chat box or wait till the live Q&A session at the very end. It's going to be a fantastic session today. And so we will get started now. I might seem a little bit weird because I'm going to be doing the intro again. The reason why is Shand is telling me that he's basically going to cut this exactly where we start. So I'm going to be repeating the whole intro and then we're going to jump right into the interview. That means for everybody watching us and joining us today, you get to see a behind the scenes of how we actually make this show happen before it actually goes to iTunes, Android, and YouTube. So let's get started. Let me just change the screen here. Just bear with me.
Oh, there's all the good-looking people. Hello.
There we go. You know what? Let me get a picture of everybody on Instagram. So if you're on camera, give us a. If you're on camera right now, give us a wave. Fantastic. Right. Ready to go? Okay.
Ready.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Well, take two. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Driven Real Estate Show by RE/MAX Hallmark. Today, we have a fantastic guest with us. Her name is Christina Kroner, and she is from our Bayview Village RE/MAX Hallmark office. Christina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
It's our pleasure. So let's just jump right into this, Christina. What is the secret to your real estate success?
I would say my secret to real estate success is being incredibly focused on getting better at everything I do in all aspects of life, and real estate just happens to be one of them. So it's my constant drive to learn more, have better interactions with my clients, use every opportunity as a chance to improve.
Fantastic. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what you mean by that and what the experiences are that has allowed you to lead that to become your secret to success in real estate. But Christina, before we get into the details about you and your business, how did you actually get started in the real estate business? So take us back to before you got licensed, what you were doing before the real estate world, how you got your license, and then what brought you to this point today.
Okay, so it actually starts when I was quite young. When I was about 10, 11, 12 years old, my mom owns investment properties that she rents out, and she would be outside gardening and she would ask me to screen any calls that came in from her ads in the newspaper for apartments that were for rent. So I had a whole list of questions that I had to start asking and set up appointments for her. And that was my first foray into real estate. I really enjoyed watching how she was able to take part in family life and have a good work-life balance by owning real estate, and how just by putting some work into improving the properties and renting and keeping tenants happy, that I just saw as an incredible investment vehicle. So I knew one day that I would like to get more involved in real estate, both owning and as an agent. However, I'm incredibly passionate about cars. So first I decided to explore a career in the automotive industry. While I was in university, I was working at a car dealership, and I had various roles from sales to event planning and also marketing. And when I graduated from university, the day after my last exam, I started in the automotive corporate world. I thought it was my dream job, and I realized that I'm not well suited to corporate world, and instead I enjoy a career that lets me embrace my creative side and interact with people on a daily basis outside of an office environment. So that was short-lived, and I had already completed 2 of my 3 real estate courses at the time. So I left that, finished my 3rd course, and started in real estate, and I didn't look back. I was about 20, just turned 23 years old at the time.
Wow. That's quite a journey.
So interesting. 23 years old, jumping into real estate. So starting out, what were your biggest challenges, Christina? And what were your work-throughs to overcome those challenges?
My biggest challenges is that when I started, I felt like I was very young and that I lacked experience. So when I heard from top realtors at office meetings talking about details from the market, it felt very overwhelming to me. At the beginning, even though I was starting to calculate how the market was doing on my own and creating my own statistics and viewpoint on the market, I still didn't feel like I had a voice. So at the beginning, I was very shy and kept my opinions to myself, just kind of read the Toronto Real Estate Board Market Watch and regurgitated that. But it wasn't until I decided to, I realized that I had experience and confidence and that under my belt, that I was able to have a voice and share that with my clients, and they learn from that and they build on that, and that's how they feel confident with their real estate transactions. Also, at the beginning, I thought that there was only one path to success. I started at a really unique time. It was about 9 years ago now, and the way that I started, it was a very traditional type of real estate. Door knocking, cold calling, send flyers, rinse and repeat. So for me, that was a very difficult adjustment. I felt that there was a different way of doing real estate. So at the beginning, I didn't realize that there was more than one path to success. So I constantly struggled with different ways to prospect and build my business. And it wasn't until I found the right path for me that my business became more successful.
So speaking of that success, how did you build your business to the point of where it is now? Can you give us some insight on the tools, the resources, the structure that you put into place and so forth?
Absolutely. So I build my business by building authentic relationships. It's all about quality over quantity. At the beginning, I thought it was very exciting to have a huge database in my CRM, my top producer, or whichever CRM I was using. And I thought it was brag worthy. Oh, look, I have this many contacts. But it doesn't matter how many contacts you have unless you're actually building authentic relationships with them. And different ways of keeping in touch definitely help strengthen my business. So you can keep in touch with people in an authentic way, asking them truly about how their life is, how's their dog, how's their kids, that sort of thing. And it has nothing to do with real estate, but it's just all about just staying in touch and staying top of mind and showing that you actually care. So when you show that you care, then it builds a tribe of people who trust you and come back to you and feel comfortable working with you too. So I built my business just on referrals, repeat. You take one client, you do your absolute best with them, you 110% on every single aspect, go above and beyond, and they're going to feel that and tell everyone, tell the world. They post on Facebook, they tell their friends, they tell their family, and before you know it, I have a phone call saying, hey, you just helped so-and-so buy a house and I'm looking to buy one too. Can you help me? And that's where it all begins.
So you just mentioned 2 points. So earlier on, you mentioned that 9 years ago, you were taking the traditional steps and doing traditional activities like door knocking, flyer drops, open houses, and so forth. And now you've, pardon me, you just mentioned the social media aspect of it. So is it, have you shifted away from the traditional methods, and are you primarily focused on social media? Like, what does your typical day look like with respect to how you do engage and so forth with your past clients and future clients?
That's a great question, Dan. So my business model is a hybrid between traditional and modern approaches. There's a way for everything here. So my traditional day looks like waking up in the morning, taking time for self-care and my mindset. I think that's key. You can't call clients if you're feeling down in the dumps or if you're having a bad day or some personal stuff is getting in the way. You need to have your mindset clear, happy, focused, usually some working out, reading the right things and affirmations, whatever is working for you, you can find what is best to get you in the right frame of mind. And then that's when you start talking to people. So the first half of my day is putting out flyers, deciding what's most urgent. If I promised someone I would send them market updates the next day, I'm getting those out right away. If I have anything in my inbox that's urgent, that's getting done before lunch, because if it ends up taking longer, then at least I'm going to make sure I get that done. There's a book, I think it's by Brian Tracy, it's called Eat That Frog. So it's all about getting the top things done every day. So I start my day by making a list of the top 3 things that absolutely have to be accomplished like before lunchtime. And I try and get them done ASAP. And then the afternoon is often reaching out to clients on social media. If I don't have appointments, especially now with COVID-19, we're here at home and life is a little bit different. So I'm reaching out to clients on social media. A great way that I keep in touch with my clients is I have lists on Facebook. So you can actually use your Facebook almost like a CRM. You can create lists, past clients, office colleagues, agents internationally. I go to conferences such as Inman in New York and in San Francisco, which is now in Vegas, but I travel and I make it a priority to seek out learning in different areas. So I've built a pretty wide network. So your Facebook algorithm is never really prioritizing people the way that you want, and you might miss posts that are important to you. So if you create lists, then you can actually create a news feed for just those particular people, and you can make sure that you're checking in with all your clients on their big milestones. Their baby just started to walk. You can interact and comment on the video. If they just graduated from their PhD program, you can send them flowers, that sort of thing. You can be part of their life milestones.
Fantastic. So you can all look forward to Christina giving us a tutorial on how to create lists on Facebook in the near future. No, I think that's great. And you brought that up yesterday, and you mentioned some of the groups that you belong to and how you've separated your social media. So can you give us an idea of the different quadrants and the different groups and organizations that you're involved in, and just how you communicate with them?
Absolutely. So I have a niche tribe of people who I absolutely love to spend all my time with outside of real estate, and that's people who drive Mini Coopers. I have 2 of them myself. I think that if everyone looks at what they love to do when they're not working, they'll find some sort of hobby, community, club that they naturally gravitate to. You can reach out to those people. And this is obviously a very soft sell approach. It's all about building relationships. So you build deep relationships with people who you like to spend time with outside of work. And that has actually been about 30% of my real estate business for the last few years, at least 30% every year, that niche tribe of people. So I also have people who drive Mini Coopers on a Facebook list, so I make sure I don't miss any of their posts. You can also change the audience of your posts on Facebook. So instead of just posting generally to all of your Facebook friends, you can post to just a specific list. I was doing that for a while. However, I find that there's a lot of overlap. So I was keeping my mini posts to just my mini friends and my real estate posts to just past clients and colleagues. However, you'll find that you're going to miss that overlap because everyone is part of every area of your life. So you should just tailor your posts and your social media content towards your entire audience.
So what's really interesting here, Christina, thank you so much for sharing, is that you're very systematic in the way that you're marketing. And so I want to take it back a little bit, because we did talk about traditional, marrying that with techniques as far as digital is concerned. And one of the reasons that we connected and why we wanted to share all of your wisdom with everybody today is that I believe it was last week, I saw that you had done a video. And when I looked at the video, it was for a listing. So amid the global pandemic that's happening right now, yes, a lot of Hallmarkers are still working. Christina had a listing that she ended up solidifying under a contract, but she did a video, and it was a very professional video, a lot of different scenery, a lot of edits to it. And then I asked her, hey, this is fantastic. Did you have somebody do this for you? And then she told me, what did you tell me? What did you tell me, Christina?
I did it all on my iPhone.
There you go. So One of the things that we face right now with COVID-19 and the global pandemic that's happening is that we're becoming very much reliant on ourselves, and we need to become very self-sufficient. So Christina, in terms of your going from traditional marketing to digital and learning all the skill sets that you have, how do you feel you've become more of a self-sufficient realtor? And how do you feel about having to tackle everything from, doing all of the marketing yourself, reaching out systematically to your clients, and even creating listing video? How do you feel about that? And do you feel that it has a benefit to your business? And for everybody listening, do you think it will benefit them?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So I leased that condo in 1 week, completely virtually. The tenant actually felt confident proceeding with an offer without having seen the property in person. And that's due to the video that I created on my iPhone. So I like to hire professional videographers and photographers whenever possible. However, with COVID-19, I was trying to reduce the exposure and flatten the curve of having people come to view properties and see properties and be in person. And that includes having professionals come in too. So I have been practicing with my iPhone for a while, and that's all it is practice. Practice makes perfect, it truly is. My first videos on my iPhone were terrible. The lighting was awful, they were shaky. The transitions in the video looked very elementary. It's just practice. So you can watch other real estate videos for inspiration of how you move the camera around, how you get the right angles, and how you get flow through the property. So in that property, I started with the front door, and I gave the entire viewpoint as you were walking through. And I showed all the details, including the view, the spectacular 180-degree view from the balcony in the bedroom. And I also showed off the amenities. Thankfully, I had that video recorded prior to COVID-19 because those amenities are now closed, but I was able to piece that together with some still images, but mostly moving video, and create a video. The entire process from start to finish, including recording, took less than 2 hours, but I took my time. I am very perfectionist with it, but you could just put it together really easy on your phone. There's a lot of apps you can use for free. And when I sent that video to prospective tenants and also realtors who had prospective clients for the property, then that gave them a great opportunity to view it without seeing it in person.
Absolutely. And it's fantastic that you were able to do that in its entirety, exactly like completely on your own and just from your phone. So here's a question for you, Christina, because a lot of Hallmarkers listening to this right now and watching us, and a lot of realtors who have joined in as well, they had that difficulty finding what you mentioned earlier, finding their voice or finding that sort of confidence when it comes to their marketing, whether it's, from traditional marketing, such as going out there, going through the dialogues when interacting with people. And at the same time, some realtors are having trouble getting into video or blogging, doing their websites, doing their social media. You shared that this was a struggle too for you, but I've seen you come a long way. We've known each other for quite a while, and I've seen a lot of your work progress, and it always impresses me. How did you happen to figure out, or how did you discover your voice? What kind of challenges did you have to go overcome that? What did it take to become the Christina Kroner today and your presence today? What did you have to go through to get there?
The Christina Kroner. I love that. I feel kind of shy by that because I still feel like there's a ton of growth everywhere in every aspect. But thank you. So the way I started is just by starting, and my first attempts were terrible. And they're terrible for everybody, and you just have to be okay with it, and you keep going. I removed some videos on my YouTube that were back from 2012. They were super embarrassing. I actually don't recommend deleting videos. Those ones had a lot of views and comments and interaction, and if the content is evergreen, which means that it never really expires, it's like an evergreen tree, then you can continue to leave that content up. Even if you think it's embarrassing, it's still logged somewhere in Google. Someone's still finding it and they're still finding value. But if you look back to anyone who started, even TV personalities, they didn't start perfect overnight. It starts with a lot of practice. And even to this day, when I'm recording video, it often takes me like 30 tries. The intro to that property video, I have like maybe 15, 20 examples on my camera roll on my iPhone of ones where I was like, oh, I don't like the way my face looked in that one, or oh, the lighting was bad, or I didn't mention the things I wanted to say. So the beauty of video is that if it's not live, you can just stop it, start it all over again, and do it again until you're ready. And you'll find that each time you do it, it actually takes less and less tries. You just become more comfortable.
Best part about it, it's free, right?
100%. And we're home anyways. What else are we going to do? Just practice seeing your video.
Interesting that you bring up the process of trying over and over again. So not sure if any of you sat in on one of our interviews with Sean Tasse. So he goes under the tagline Styfire. But Sean has did a presentation for us, and he actually showed us his very first video that he did a couple of years ago. And I'd say he's probably one of the better videographers, real estate videographers today that's, that's self-doing it. And his first video had his camera on the ground at a property, and the whole video, the camera was looking up his nose, and you could see the nose hairs. So nothing is perfect, right? And actually, the consumer doesn't want perfect. The consumer wants to see you as a human being and just being natural. And it's okay if you make a mistake. So quarterly, Sean now puts out his blooper reels. And he's got this entire, and sorry, Christina, just to sort of tap into that where you said, don't get rid of your videos and so forth. He has an entire following now that actually messages him, when's your blooper reels coming up? Because they're quite funny. And he obviously picks and chooses. So Monica Hollins has a comment here saying, hi, Christina, I hosted my first virtual live open house this weekend. I saw it. You did a great job, by the way, Monica. Your video on AIM last week inspired me. Thank you. Conditionally sold the next day. Did you use the static method on your example on last week's Zoom call? So that's a question.
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that you can do video, especially now with COVID-19. So you can do live open houses. This was a lease property, so we don't typically do open houses for leases. I did kind of consider it because I could have put the link on realtor.ca. So actually, if you do have a lease, I would say do it. If I have another one, I'm going to definitely post that link. But live video is very forgiving. People understand that you are a human being, you have one take, and we're not expecting perfection, perfect lighting, or perfect speech at all. So I do think that practicing on live is a great example and a great way that you can get going on video and get started. Last week on AIM, Barbara Brindle showed that video that Johnder was talking about for my recent property, and that one was done static. So I went into the property with my client, and with social distancing, mostly she had to hand me the key that I could put in the lockbox, and I stayed an hour afterwards and took some photos and video all on my phone, and they turned out great. Then I went home and I sat on the couch right here with my dog on my lap and just started fiddling with the video, just editing out the parts I didn't like and putting it together. So I used a program called Splice, S-P-L-I-C-E. I don't know if it's free anymore. I downloaded it about 2 years ago. A few people are shaking their heads. I mentioned it on Friday's AIM call, so it might not be free anymore. I think it's now $3.99 a month or something. Okay. It's an awesome program. It has the sound built right in, so you can just drag and drop that into your video. It has sound effects. It has great transitions. If you want a free option, you can also use iMovie. It's almost the same as Splice, except for iMovie doesn't have music. You have to find royalty-free music that you can use online, because if you put some top 40 song from the radio, then you could actually have your video banned from YouTube for copyright infringement. So you have to find the proper music. So the $3.99, if you have to pay that for Splice, is definitely worth it, just because it's an all-in-one program. But the entire thing was done on my iPhone with Splice, and it was so easy to do. And Gemma, you're absolutely correct. She just said, my video will always outperform the video that you don't do. And I keep seeing agents who are doing great market update videos, even on a weekly basis. And that's on my to-do list this week to get those out there. Without perfection, do them live. and just do more video. It's all about doing more.
And in fact, all of us are on video right now. If you look, well, for those of you who have turned your cameras on, you are on video. So for the past couple of weeks of this going on, you've had a chance to practice. And so when Christina was talking about deleting those YouTube, I kind of cringed a bit, because it's the same as when when I started Instagram, I took a couple of photos, and then, I like to keep it, but my wife said, oh, no, let's delete these ones. And then now I'm thinking back, and, that was a part of the evolution. So for those of you who have ever tried YouTube or blogging or, creating any kind of content, just let it evolve. Just getting things done is better than getting things perfect, as they say, right?
And also a great way that you can incorporate video in a very stress-free environment is with a Zoom call. So a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed my mortgage professional with my top questions that my clients were asking about mortgage deferrals and what to do about accessing equity from their home with lines of credit, examples like that. So we did a face-to-face Zoom, and it was me on one side, him on the other. We did a quick call in advance to just go over a few questions that we wanted to cover, but it was all live, candid. Through Zoom, you can record it, and then from there, you can upload it onto YouTube. So there you go. You have an interview with one of your trusted professionals. You've done that now from home. It's live, so you don't have to make it perfect. And another thing on my to-do list is chopping up parts of that video into smaller segments so I can post it on my social media and answer questions specifically, because that video was 1 hour long. So many people don't want to watch the whole thing. They might want to just get answers to their specific questions. So now you can repurpose that content in a million different ways. And that was just through Zoom.
Absolutely.
So that's the beauty, right? Because right now, so we have a structured plan for our Driven program, and we have our 6 or 7 questions that we try to align and keep track, keep our interview, but we've totally deviated away from that.
Oops.
No, this is fine.
Which is a good thing.
This is a great thing, right? So it just goes to show you guys from a structured perspective, and Johnder and I have done this a number of times. This is our 3rd time live, and we're certainly not professionals at interviewing or being in front of the screen, or we don't have perfect lighting. And I think I missed, anyways,
You look great, Dan, don't worry.
Thank you. So there's always something, right? And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm looking at this screen, and there's 56 people right now, realtors and professionals and business people that are tuned in and listening to this one individual is sharing. And I think it's the same for you guys. And I know what the value is going to be, because after these calls for the last couple of weeks, both Johnder and I keep getting messages saying, can you connect me with so-and-so? Can you find out where they do this or where they do that, and so forth and so forth. So I think you, as the professional, bringing in other industry professionals that can benefit your consumer, right? You're just adding value to their day, right? And that other individual that you're interviewing may mention something that could correlate with that consumer, and it creates a conversation and creates opportunity, and you stand out. So just back to our interview. So tell us, Christina, you're very motivated, and I'm sure, like all of us, you have your ups and downs, but generally, what keeps you motivated to perform at this level on a daily basis?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess just visualizing the way I want my life to be in 10, 15, 20 years from now, and working backwards. When I first started in real estate, now was almost 9 years ago. I'm in my 9th year. So time flies, right? So your goals are just to do your transactions, help people do more, reach these income level goals that are set by whichever brokerage you work with, that sort of thing. But then once you start looking long term at what your actual goals are, it's about what kind of lifestyle you want to lead. And you have to work backwards. You can't just snap your fingers and then suddenly you're retired and living on a beach and driving race cars or something like that. So you have to see, I have a vision board. So having a vision board definitely helps me stay motivated. I cut out pictures of things that are keeping me on track. Also reaching out to colleagues. My great friend Gemma Leggett is here on the call, and I've called her a few times in frustration. I've called some members of the leadership team too. Thank you, Johnder. And we always need to have a good support level with us here. Last week, Connie Power helped me through a tough day. I was feeling a little bit difficult about how is this lease going to work in the time of COVID? Are people still looking for properties? How am I going to deliver on my promises to my client? And, you know, just a conversation with a friend, and especially a colleague who understands the struggles of our business, just sets you straight. And then you look at your vision board and you're like, okay, I got it. Let's get going.
Absolutely. So it's very, I guess it's a holistic approach if you think about it. And we do need, you know, that family, that support, and that's very important. And these are tough times, and these are challenging times. And, you know, Christina, myself, Dan, and all of us here that I'm seeing connected, there's no exception to the kind of challenges we go through. And it's very important to have in mind what is it that you know, what's that forward or thinking or future that you have that you want to make a reality. So Christina, you've shared a lot with us today, and quite a bit of it is technical. And so, you know, we're gonna save that for, as Dan mentioned, maybe you should teach us a couple of things on a technical perspective. But, you know, considering that you were able to do business amidst the global pandemic, and considering your evolution from using traditional real estate marketing and prospecting technique, and then evolving into combining traditional with digital, you know, we're facing right now an interesting situation where, you know, a lot of us have to become self-reliant. A lot of us have become independent. A lot of us are relying on amazing tools that we use. But Christina, ultimately, what is your advice to the Hallmarkers and to the Realtors that are listening today? What would you tell them to help them and guide them through the challenging situations we currently face? And, you know, what would you advise them as to how to keep moving forward?
My advice would be to use this time to build the things in your business that you always wish were there, but you were too busy to do. For example, your clients are asking you the same questions almost every time. So put together a client guide or a section of your website or a PDF or even just like basic email template at all levels. Just start, you know, think back to the days when you're really busy and what you wish you had in your business. So this is a good time to work on that. Also, when you're home, and even if you don't have a listing that you can market, you can just be at home practicing with apps. You can try doing a video tour of your own home, of your condo. So then that way you're ready and prepared. I think that's part of the mindset preparation. If inside your head, you're kind of freaked out, oh my gosh, what would happen if somebody calls me and actually wants to list their property in the middle of a pandemic? How am I going to handle this? Then you're going to be pushing away that business. So if you start using this time to prepare, practice, and you know, just start with using apps and technology, I think that's a good way. There's also so much learning. It can even be overwhelming at times, but RE/MAX Hallmark has put together something that you can tune into every single day. You can watch YouTube as well if you want to learn how to edit a video. There's some 14-year-old on YouTube that has recorded how they do it, and they do it better than all of us. It's so easy to learn absolutely anything you want to do. So I would say take this time to restore your mindset, stay positive, work on the things that you know you're going to need to do for your business. And let's face it, even when we go back to the normal, whatever that is, and whenever it is, these tools that we're learning, these digital tools, are always going to be present. And with the way that real estate has evolved in the last 9 years, I've seen consumers expect more video tours, expect the floor plans, expect the high quality digital marketing. So that's exactly what we need to be delivering, even when we go back to in-person real estate. So use this time to practice.
So speaking of practice, for those of you that don't have any current listings, I'm going to throw something out. I'm going to challenge you guys. And this is all a practice thing. So instead of doing an open house for a physical structure or your own home, we all want to get out of the house right now, right? And I think it's pretty safe if you take safe protocols and so forth. Why not do an open house for the community that you're in? And when I say what I'm saying by that is, why not present your community to the people that are on your networks and your social networks, like, you know, the park, the really good schools, the recreation centers, et cetera, and do a little bit of a demonstration, because you can do a video, pause it, drive to the next location, continue your video, and so forth. So if you want to get some practice, I think that that's just a really good practical way of reaching your, Christina's got a smile on her face there. I just, maybe just gave her a little something.
Yeah, actually, you
something.
just gave me another idea. I've seen another realtor do this.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant, guys. And just be yourselves and just go to your community and just, you know, talk to your consumers. Hey, you know what? We're going to come out of this, right? We're going to come out of this. And like, I know for myself, there are so many things. We live in the nation's capital, by the way, the center of the universe. Toronto is not the center of the universe. Just kidding. Gemma's laughing over there. Nonetheless, there are so many things in my beautiful city that I don't know about. And I know that there's a lot of people just like me that I've lived here for 52 years of my life. And if you just go out there and do a little bit of an open house of something unique, something different, and share it with your network, I bet you will get so much engagement. So much engagement. Oh, somebody just wrote here, Leo Bruno just did one talking about local businesses that are open and how they're, you know, they redo business. So fantastic. Johnder, I'll let you.
Absolutely.
And it's a good on that, Dan. Sorry, I'll be short with this.
Yes, of course.
Seen some realtors do video Zooms with local business professionals. So the owner of the pizza shop, the owner of the florist, local businesses, they also want exposure. And
Absolutely.
they're showing how they're communicating with and allowing curbside delivery or pickup and that sort of thing. So this is a way you can showcase your community, showcase your favorite restaurants, and help them too. And you know, when all this is over, they're going to remember that you helped them at this time. It's all about building your community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, Christina has been great. Like we've been talking about the ways that she's been communicating to her community. So even though it's a bit technical, I mean, we're going to save those ideas for a future class. But Christina, you've communicated to your farm area using traditional and a bit of digital marketing. So can you, I guess, give us an overview of, I guess, what do you do as far as how do you communicate to that area, to the physical farm area that you serve?
Okay, so if we pretend that this is before COVID, I'll share how I incorporate some traditional and digital marketing together. So if I don't have a listing, I'm always looking for a colleague in the office who I can host an open house for their listing, because it keeps me busy. And it also creates an opportunity to put out content about real estate and hone my skills and expose the property, potentially even pick up new clients. And, you know, there's so many benefits to it. So my traditional prospecting pre-COVID would be door knocking around an open house. I also have a flyer, and the flyer would have some details on a website. So I'm driving most of their content and questions from the flyer are actually not on the flyer. Instead, I choose a picture that's really captivating, a little bit of bullet point details, but for more information and for an awesome video tour, check out the website. I often speak with the listing agent if it's not my listing, and figure out how we can like co-market the property just to prepare for my open house. So that way I'm door knocking and engaging with the community that way. And I create digital marketing too that leads into that. So on my Instagram, using Canva, I created a template for my posts. So then that way I have my branding on every post and it looks very fluid. You can create the Canva template once, and then you can just simply duplicate the file and then change the pictures and the information and use it for the next property and the next property and the next one. And that creates a fluid brand. So that's using a physical piece of real estate with interacting in traditional methods by door knocking and some flyers, but also incorporating digital, hashtagging it, of course, sometimes boosting it or promoting it with paid ads as well. Just trying to get that digital post to have more reach.
Absolutely, and the only real difference
a whole other class if you want to get technical.
There you go. And we're going to save that because that's at least another 2-3 hours, right? So the only thing that with what Christina said and the difference today, I mean, with COVID-19 is the only thing that you can't do there is the physical door knocking part, but everything else that Christina has described, and I've seen her systems work, and we're talking Facebook pixels and tracking and retargeting and also, so many things, is that you can still do everything except now you're digitally door knocking in a sense, because you're putting, you're taking everything after the physical door knocking, and you're still doing that. And that's what Christina's system is great at doing. So Christina, thank you.
If you don't know how to do this, then hire somebody. It can be really overwhelming to see someone like myself who's been doing this for a while and see my posts and figure out how you get from like step 1 to 100. So you can hire someone at the beginning. They can show you how it's done. Then you can learn and grow, or you can just keep practicing and adding in a little layer every single time.
Absolutely, and that's a key point. Don't try to do everything by yourself. I mean, yes, in many cases there's enough apps to help us become self-sufficient at many things, but there are a lot of things that do get complicated. And Christina, being what I'd call, I mean, she's digitally native to a lot of these things. She can take it on. But if you're stronger with the traditional real estate, have somebody do your digital marketing. That's brilliant advice. Thank you so much for that, Christina. So Christina, thank you so much for everything that you've shared with us. I'm sure we have all received a little bit of ideas or little bits of advice that we can do. And the quote that I took from this was just start. I mean, the important thing to do right now, because we certainly do have the time for it, is just start on that project, start on the blog, start on the Instagram or Facebook. Start your videos and start doing something, and don't just wait to be stagnant. And with the motivation of looking forward in the next several years, as Christina said, where do you want to be and what are you going to do to get there? So thank you so much for joining us today, Christina. What is the best way for anybody watching this, listening to the podcast, and when this goes out into the podcast, or anybody here right now, or fellow Hallmarkers and fellow Realtors, if they want to send you a referral business to Toronto, which is the center of the universe, by the way, Dan, if they want to send you a referral to Toronto, or if they want to do business with you, if they have any questions, they want to pick your brain, how do they reach you? How do they find you on social media? How do they call you, send you a text message? Go ahead and share your contact information with us.
Thank you again for having me, Johnder and Dan. It's been awesome to share with everybody, and I can't wait to get more in depth at a future date about the digital technical stuff. And I can't wait to see how everybody is adapting this in their business. So please give me a follow on Instagram. My name on Instagram is Christina Kroner, exactly how it's spelt. My website is christinakroner.com, where you'll find my cell phone and also my office details if you'd like to send me a referral. You can also send me a friend request on Facebook. I'm happy to connect with you. And I'd love to see your posts. I'd love to see you implementing more video and more digital marketing. And when I see your posts, I'm going to give it a like and some encouraging comments. So I'm proud of everyone who starts this journey, because the best time to start with digital marketing is today. And you're going to keep needing it as we go forward. So you might as well just start today. Use this time to practice and hone your skills.
Amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Christina. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have
an awesome week, guys. We're always here for you.
Thanks, everyone. And if you have any more questions, just always reach out privately. I'm happy to help too.
You're wonderful. Thanks,
so
Christina. Thanks, everyone. Great week.